Hi, Will Schweller here to walk you through some of the highlight fine art lots in Clarke Auction's December 5th sale. We're going to start here to my left with a nice Ray Parker from 1974, a bit obscured by the shadows here coming in from the sun. But it's a really lovely late Parker that features the sort of trademark red he was using as his ground in the mid-70s, and features these 4 quadrants of colors. I think it's a tremendously balanced painting. It comes from a New York collection and it's being sold with a $3,000 to $5,000 estimate. From a separate New York collection here, we have a really rare Zhao key lithograph from 1953 titled Le Grand Baigneux, the Big Bathers. It's an interesting work because much of Zhao Qi's printed work is fully abstract, and this has figuration here. We've got figures and then what I believe to be boats. It's sort of an abstracted coastal scene. Like I said, it's fairly rare on the market, a pretty desirable print. We're offering it with a $4,000 to $6,000 estimate. Above it, we have one of my favorite paintings in the sale, an untitled, well technically it's Untitled 15P, oil on canvas by American abstract expressionist Edward Dugmore. The piece is from 1959 and comes from a New York collection. And I think really, stands the test of time. It's, from 1959, but looks really fresh today. You're not going to be able to see it here in the gallery lighting, but when it's brightly lit, these primary colors, particularly these yellows, blues, reds, really pop. It's quite a striking painting. For a mid-century abstract, fairly small but mighty. We're selling it with a $6,000 to $9,000 estimate.
Okay, go ahead.
To the left of the Dugmore, we have a nice painting by WPA artist Jules Halfont. Really fantastic, almost psychedelic scene from the 1930s depicting the 3rd Avenue L and a market down underneath it. Comes out of a New York collection. A really fantastic painting from a sort of undersung WPA artist. We're offering it with a $500 to $700 estimate. It's one of a couple lots by Halfont. We'll see a few more in this video. Above it, we have a nice work by Aaron Berkman, another New York-based WPA painter. This here of a gallery talk, I think a rather whimsical painting, a woman showing some medieval scene here with the patrons sort of tittering in the foreground. Really great painting from a New York City collection, also being sold with a $500 to $700 estimate. Moving along, we have a large, illegibly signed painting that we believe to be English because the canvas was prepared by a British company from the mid-century. It's signed here down on the lower left, and in our catalog we have photographs that really clearly illustrate the signature. It's a fantastic abstract, probably from the 50s, early 60s, of an artist's studio that sort of in the background kind of blends into a more pure abstract painting. I'm really quite fond of this work. It came out of a collection in Garrison, and we're selling it with an $800 to $1,200 estimate. As we slide along, we're going to take a look here at another Jules Halfont painting, again of the 3rd Avenue L down at Cooper Union. Great WPA painting, again really abstract, very modernist, fantastic colors. The way these oranges contrast with the cool dark blues is really quite pleasant. Comes from the same collection as the other Jules Halfont and is also being sold with a $500 to $700 estimate. Above it, we have the first of 2 interesting paintings by a Russian-born artist named Valerie Belineken. It's based in Jersey now, I believe, but was trained and studied in Moscow. And this work's from 1999, depicts a woman sort of looking over her shoulder, a classic pose in art history of, I think of the odalisques of the 19th century. Comes from an upstate collection, is being sold with an $800 to $1,200 estimate. And popping down here, we have the second by that same painter. This is a slightly more surreal scene from the early 90s depicting a man and then this sort of, unintelligible organic form here in his groin. It's a bit of a suggestive painting from that same upstate collection with an $800 to $1,200 estimate. Above it, we have Great American School Abstract from 1961. Again, we don't know the artist here. There's a few paintings in this sale that are really quite strong mid-century abstracts that are illegibly signed or not signed at all. This comes from a New York collection from 1961. It's almost figurative. I sort of start to see a face there, particularly in the upper right corner. We're selling it with an $800 to $1,200 estimate. Pop over here across the office. We have one of 2 lots by Peter Max in the sale. This is a hand-embellished print, so it is signed, and some of these passages of paint are paint that's fairly typical of late Peter Max. He was or is known for doing these hand-embellished prints. This is the Statue of Liberty, one of his more iconic motifs. Comes from a local collection. It's being sold with an $800 to $1,200 estimate. Presents really well in a nice frame there. So we pop over to the other wall. We have two really important paintings. Down below, a nice long Alvin Carl Hollingsworth painting. Hollingsworth is an artist we saw fairly regularly here at Clarke, someone I'm quite fond of. Was working in the mid-century. He's one of the more important African-American painters based out of New York to paint in the 60s and 70s. He was the founder of the Spiral Group, along with Norman Lewis and Ramar Bearden, and is known for his landscapes, his scenes of black figures. Here we've got a sort of coastal landscape framed by mountains with the sun in the foreground, boats more in the foreground. Comes from a Queens collection. It's being sold with an $800 to $1,200 estimate. It's oil on masonite. Above it, from the same Garrison collection as that potentially English painting of a canvas, we have a really important work by American abstract expressionist Kyle Morris. The piece dates from 1959 and is titled Montauk Point, signed, titled and dated verso. It's really great, if slightly damaged, late 50s American abstract painting. It was found in a basement up in Garrison. It's being sold with a $600 to $900 estimate, and I think with a little bit of love would be a really fantastic piece. It presents quite well here in the gallery. Above the bathroom door, we have another WPA painting, this by New York artist Norman Barr. We've got folks at an outdoor market. A bit gloomy in palette, I think very indicative of a Great Depression painting, really strong WPA scene. Comes from a New York City collection. It's being sold with a $500 to $700 estimate. Up top here, again from another local collection, we have a nice little oil on canvas by French painter Francois Gall. Gall is known for his portraits of women sort of sitting alone, whether at a vanity or like here in a cafe scene. I think this is a really strong one. The pink of her dress is quite vibrant, and the background is really well composed and fairly thoroughly painted. It's a nice little painting. We're selling it with a $1,000 to $1,500 estimate. Below it, we have a Jerusalem scene by the Israeli painter Aryeh Alwil. It's being sold with a $300 to $500 estimate, but I think that's a bit conservative. The use of blue here is really lovely. It's a great Jerusalem scene. It's one of several Israeli paintings that we have in the sale, and we also have a couple nice pieces of American Judaica, sort of thematically all quite related. Really nice painting. To its left, we have an acrylic on canvas by Israeli painter Ishtak Tarkay. This is a classic Tarkay, a really great example of his paintings featuring women having tea. Really excellent colors in this piece. I like how the background here is a little bit more muted in these browns and golden tones. Really allows the figures, the flowers, the teapot to pop. Comes out of a local collection over in Harrison. It's being sold with a $2,000 to $3,000 estimate. To its left, we have a pair of late 18th, early 19th century English oils on tin. Extremely well painted. I have labels from a historic London antiques dealer on the back. Please check out our catalog. I've got those photographed. Come from a collection over in Jersey and are being sold as a pair with an $800 to $1,200 estimate. Below it is another one of the gems of the sale. It's a painting on panel, an oil on panel by French artist Alphonse Etienne Dinet. Dinet is a really interesting artist. He was trained in the French academic system, studied under Bouguereau, and became quite famous for his Orientalist scenes. He ultimately moved to Algeria, took up Islam, really immersed himself in the Algerian culture. But what we have here appears to be more of a Spanish scene. So you get really great Moorish architecture, and then a horseman here with rifles slung. It's a great genre painting, very atypical in location, but typical for the artist in terms of being a nice genre painting. Comes out of a local collection and it's being sold with a $5,000 to $7,000 estimate. And above the bathroom, we have another Aaron Berkman. Again, a WPA scene here. This beggar's sort of sitting in Central Park. Great New York painting from a New York collection with a $500 to $700 estimate. Here in the main gallery, we've got a great assortment of works. On the left, a nice tempera on canvas by Italian, almost surrealist painter Carlo Guarienti. And to its right, a nice 1940s abstract by American artist Janet Cohen. On the other side of this piece of furniture, we have a nice 3D seriograph by Brazilian artist Romero Brito, good pop art piece, and then another hand-embellished Peter Max. A collection of Calder lithographs in this month's auction, as well as rather interesting Russian painting of horses, really cute, great for any equestrian, from the 90s. We've got 2 lots by Charles Fazzino. This is the stock exchanges. And above it, a fantastic mixed media piece by African-American artist Robert Reed. Comes out of a White Plains collection. And from a New York City collection, we have an abstract by a living painter, Nuala Clarke, who's Irish, splits her time between Cork and New York City. Really fantastic abstract, great palette. Another Guarianti tempera on canvas, and another Peter Max. Another Charles Fazzino. This of a golf course, perfect for any golfer. Thinking of heading southwest for the winter to hit the links. A Fred Jessup painting, really decorative. I love the wallpaper in this painting. And then perhaps the best Jonah Kinningsteen I've ever seen of Dinner in Rome. You've got the figures puffing on their after dinner cigars, drinking wine, munching on what's surely delicious food. Above it is a great lithograph poster by Max Svabinsky, a Czech artist, here celebrating the centennial of Joseph Manis, the painter. Above this vitrine, we have a really fantastic American painting of a cat done up like a human. Always popular subject matter, really charming painting. Here, another Jules Halfant, really strong work from the 1930s depicting Greenwich Village, super modernist, and a nice, probably 18th, maybe early 19th century floral still life. Some great American paintings in this sale, including this work by an artist, Jenny Kernigan, a female painter. And this work here, titled Sunset, which we have as attributed to Ralph Albert Blakelock. The work is not in the University of Nebraska's database of Blakelock, but they no longer authenticate paintings, so we're selling it as an attribution. Really great scene here depicting a Native American encampment at sunset. Excellent light that is typical of the artist. Above it, a German genre painting by Dom Schroeder. And above that, I don't know if you'll really be able to see it too well, but a nice Karl Rothstein Swiss painting of a country palace. Some nice European paintings in the sale, a still life with a lobster, a pair of Karl Heiner floral still lifes, and a pair here, the other side we'll see on this mirror, of saint paintings, German school. Got another strong American painting here in the corner, 19th century of a shipwreck. Always interesting subject matter to see in a painting. We've got the boats here cast along the coastal stones and figures being hoisted to safety from the escape boat. I think this is being sold with an $800 to $1,200 estimate. It comes from a local collection. Popping to the other side here, the furniture, we have a grouping of a number of WPA paintings, a lot of works by Aaron Berkman, including this dock scene here, possibly Gloucester. Another dock scene. Above the mirror, we have a really tender portrait by Angelo Asti, who's known for his portraits of women here in bust length. Really nice, comes from a good collection. And to their right, we have a grouping of 5 works on paper by the 19th century French artist A. Rodet. They're fun figure sketches. We have 2 lots, each groupings of 5 drawings. Really good for a collector, someone looking to fill a wall. And here to wrap up, we'll start up top with a great painting, probably 17th, maybe 18th century, of a woman. It's been relined, so it's a bit difficult to tell the age, and there is some heavy cracked allure, but it's really well done. Very smooth finish to the paintings, expertly modeled flesh. The face is really detailed. And below it, a nice English school painting of Queen Anne. It comes from another local collection. As always, the sale, really eclectic mix of fantastic work, so please do check out our catalog to get its full scope. And while on our website, www.clarkeny.com, you'll be able to take a look at our upcoming auction, which is going to be on January 9th. Please, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you.